Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coffee and Conversation right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and today I am joined by Georgie Mainey, right?
Yep, that's right.
How are you, Georgie?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Well, the reason you're here today is to talk about the Maritime Food Authority. Now, no one's going to know what that is because it's brand new, and it's something that you created due to the fact that you have an extensive background in the industry within cruise ships and private yachts, and working with food safety. And there were some glaringly apparent things that weren't being looked at within the yachting industry. So can you tell us a little bit about why and what Maritime Food Authority is?
Yeah, sure, of course. I'd be delighted to, actually. So yeah, as you say, it's been my baby for an awfully long time, and it's something that I've been striving to put together for an awfully long time. Just a little bit about my background. I trained as a chef, and quite soon after qualifying, I did a degree in hotel management, and I went and saw a lovely shiny yacht in the south of France whilst I was on holiday, and ended up working on board, and stayed on board for nearly 11 years. Working as a chef and then chief stew, and then I became first officer as well. So I really embraced the industry, and then had my children and went into teaching in the UK, for young chefs and front of house youngsters as well, which involved food safety as well. And during that journey, I became quite involved in writing exam papers and qualifications for awarding bodies. And I carried on with the superyacht industry, creating the guest program alongside another team of people for the PYA. And it was always glaringly obvious to me that food safety was never really being addressed properly on board. The minimum requirements for food safety, according to the MLC, is a level 2 qualification, a land-based qualification, which never really prepared any of the crew in the entirety for the expectations for food safety and management on board. And the food safety at sea qualification came about because at that time I was working for the cruise line industry, and I rewrote the food safety program to become the food safety at sea, which sits with the cruise line industry. And my heart was telling me the yachting industry needs more. It needs more support. It needs more help. And we're not preparing these young people to take on the responsibility for managing food safety, also yacht sanitation and public health. So that's where I've been striving to get the MFA off the ground. So in a nutshell, the MFA is a quality standards membership authority to support yachts, to recognise excellence, provide good training programs through training providers, and raise the level of responsibility and accountability for food safety and yacht sanitation and public health.
Well, I mean, one question I have for you is that, you mentioned that the level 2 is equivalent to land-based. Now, anybody that works in, say, McDonald's or Burger King would have to have level 2.
Yeah.
We're talking about super yachts. We're talking about the utmost important clients. Those that charter are spending hundreds of thousands of euros or dollars per week, and they're actually being served food out of a galley with people that only have the same accreditation as somebody that worked at McDonald's.
Yeah, well, exactly. I might just probably just highlight that probably more in favour of the industry. So you're right. The level 2 program that is mandatory for all food handlers, only on charter yachts, not private, is the same qualification as you do for shore-based. So yes, that's the same one that people in McDonald's do. But we mustn't get away from the fact that there are some really fabulous people on the super yachts that have actually gone on and done level 3, and there's some excellent practice out there. I don't want to deter from that. The MFA is raising the standards and actually telling the industry we feel this is what the super yacht industry should be having and what we need as a framework, rather than just going along with the minimum requirements. It's finally the yachting industry saying, this is what we're good at, we can be excellent at this, and we're here to provide the support for you.
Well, and I think this would apply more to the green crew coming in, because I myself as well know chefs straight across the board, and they up their game every single day. You know, they work hard, they want to do the best they can, they want to have the best product. It's amazing. But green crew coming in, they have to have maybe possibly a bit better of an understanding of what they're getting into.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do, because the level 2 food safety program, all it does is train the crew on basic food safety. And that's where it stops. They go on board and there's no continuity. There is no, let's apply this to the yachting industry. Let's apply it to MARPOL. Let's apply it to outbreak management, which is what we're all experiencing right now with COVID-19. How to control any kind of outbreak, whether it's the common cold or norovirus. And these crew are totally unaware of the huge responsibility they have. We are mini cruise liners. That's how we're looking after the well-being of the crew and the well-being of all guests, be they private or charter. But they're not prepared.
Well, for sure. I mean, that's one thing I wanted to ask you about is the yacht sanitation. Now, how will you be getting into that aspect of things?
So what we do, and what I've created with the Maritime Food Authority, is I've been working with Highfield Qualifications, who are an internationally recognised awarding body. And there is a new program called the Manager in Charge for the Luxury Yacht. And this is a program where we're aiming it at those heads of department and the managers who are responsible for the yacht sanitation, food safety, etc. And within that program, there is a whole host of qualifications to really prepare anybody to work on board the yacht. And that includes your food safety at sea paper, which is now a level 3, and preparing you for life at sea and the differences between shore and life on board. Then we go into allergen management, which is incredibly important, particularly for charter boats, with the amount of different guests they have on board. We do HACCP, which is a hazard analysis critical control, which is a food safety management system that's internationally recognised. And then it's auditing, how to look at your yachts and how to audit properly. And then there is a very unique program which I've written and is accredited, which is the Yacht Sanitation, Public Health and MARPOL. And this is so unique to the yachting industry, because if you look at your average size 60 to 90 metre, you have stewardesses that are going from housekeeping to laundry to service. And the whole of that yacht sanitation is embedded within every single aspect of their work. It's how to put an outbreak management plan in place for prevention and then control during an outbreak. What are your levels? You've got a baseline, you've got an elevated level, then an outbreak. How these young people can actually recognize isolation, how to sanitize the yacht, and how to do it correctly to avoid cross-contamination and protecting the rest of the crew. And yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, right now, that probably is one of the most important things to be looking at, because I have a feeling, and that's just my feeling, no affiliation with anybody else, but going forward, this is going to be so important. I mean, you know, all of these charter guests and owners, when they come on board, they're going to expect that yacht is as clean as you could lick off the floor. You know, I just did that.
And you're absolutely right, Ray. And this is what's really astonished me, which is one of the other drivers, is that during my 3 years of working with the cruise line companies, writing these exact programs for public health, it was astonishing to me that this wasn't happening on board the super yachts. So I wrote this program way back in October before COVID-19 ever came out, knowing that norovirus and flu viruses and gastroenteritis can run rife, and there was no training for the crew to control these. So when COVID-19 is over, and it will be over, there are other viruses that will come into play. So it's been an absolute driver for me to get the same standards on the cruise liners onto the super yachts.
Well, and I mean, realistically, you're taking a look at a very small space. Yes, a yacht may be quite large, but comparatively speaking, when you have a certain amount of crew, a certain amount of guests, and something breaks out and you are quarantined on that yacht, it becomes very small very quickly, no matter the size.
Absolutely, it does. It does. And if you don't have the right techniques in place of the prevention of those the outbreaks, and then how to actually bring it back into control by a trained hit squad, which is what I call it. It's a hit squad. You're actually going out there and you've got your PPE, you're going out and you're sanitizing the whole yacht. And for me, the whole program for the luxury yacht manager in charge is so comprehensive. It gives anybody the control, accountability, and the peace of mind that they're actually food safety, public sanitation, and auditing, that due diligence, that they can prove that they are doing everything in their power to protect guests and crew alike. And
I think that's amazing. That's really important.
Yeah.
So how can people get this training then if they want their crew to have it, or if it's a school that wants to make sure, or even if individual crew want to make sure when they're applying for a job that they have this extra, really good resume?
So it's the manager in charge is a fantastic program which is owned by the MFA, and the yacht will become a member of the MFA, and everybody who is selected to be a manager in charge. So on a 90-meter, I would suggest between 8 and 10, and we've got a scale of who should be doing this program. So the MFA are not a training provider. That's not what we do. We are there as your critical friend. We're there as your member organisation, and we are the ones that will give you a certificate of excellence on an annual basis. I'll park that for a moment and explain that in a moment and answer your question. So the training, as we're not a training provider, we have identified training providers who are excellent in this field. And they are going to be approved by us, and they are going to provide the training. We have 2 companies at the moment, and we've got more in the pipeline. One is Luxury Hospitality, who are looking after the Netherlands and Germany. And then we have Monaco Ocean Wave, who are looking after the south of France and Italy. And they're very carefully selected because they have the right people with the right knowledge and the right experience to deliver the training. And without knowing the yachting industry, food and hygiene, and obviously public health, you can't deliver this program. And the MFA is there to support them and make sure that the training is really, really good quality. So once you're a member of the MFA, your yacht's a member of the MFA, you'll be coupled up with one of our training providers, and they will arrange the training for you.
Okay, so it's you apply to the MFA, and it's like an ongoing, every month payment or a yearly payment, and you are part of this.
Yeah, kind of. So the MFA is a membership organisation for the yacht itself, and so the yacht becomes a member. And for that membership, the yacht gets all of their managers in charge access to the members area, which gives them CPD throughout the year. It gives them lots of useful information, industry updates, how we're working with the flag states to make sure that they're happy with what we're doing. The membership gives the yacht the digital app, which is the MFA app, which allows you to do all of your food safety auditing, your food safety sheets, basically, everything you do on a food safety basis, your health and hygiene, your water sanitation, all in one easy to use app on a telephone or an iPad. And that allows the MFA to see your progress on a day-to-day basis. It's an ongoing audit, so it's a point scored. It gives you that, and it gives you the an annual certificate of excellence to show that you are applying the training every single day. It shows that you are auditing. It shows that you've got excellent standards, and you will also get an external audit from one of the MFA auditors who will come on board as your critical friend to see what's going on the application, and then come and see you in practice to be your critical friend, say, we need to do this, or you're doing excellent, or some improvements could be done here. It's somewhere, it's your go-to, basically. And for that, you will get your annual certificate to show, if you're a charter company, look at us, we're excellent, we're recognised. Pretty much like every hotel and bar have on the land, you'll be getting it for, you're either excellent or you're not. There's no grading for me, for the MFA. You're really good, or there's some room for improvement. And I think that's where the difference between training and actually applying training happens. And this is what the MFA is to do. So the membership is for the yacht. However, if you are a qualified manager in charge, you will get your own personal certificate, which you will carry with you for life, as long as you're doing your CPD, which as a qualified member and manager in charge, you will have lifetime access to the members area free of charge. You will be able to look at our resources, log CPD, and keep your certificate of excellence valid. And all we ask is 24 hours of CPD minimum per year. And for that, any qualified manager in charge will have a lifetime access. And it's the yacht who pays the membership to make sure their audits and they're meeting the standards. They pay the membership. Is that clear, or have I made it confusing?
No, that's very clear, and it's great. I think it is definitely something that has been missing in the industry for a long time, and the fact that you spotted it, and it must have taken a lot of work to bring it all together in a business sense.
It did. To spot it was fairly easy. I go back to my time when I was in my 20s working on board, and how naive I was as well. I was naive at that. I was a qualified chef, and when I look back, I think, my goodness, I was naive on public health then. If an outbreak had happened then, I would have not known what to do. And since my training on board, because I have been training on board for over 8 years now, not just food safety, but housekeeping and service and laundry, and seeing all the hotspots for contamination has just really made me realise how vulnerable the crew are and how unsupported they are. So whenever I've done my training, I've always brought it in, and then I thought, I've got to do something about this, make it a formal qualification, make it recognisable, make it something that the industry is proud of, and actually saying this is what we want, rather than waiting for the cruise liners to tell us what to do. And this is what normally happens.
Something that somebody said to me the other day is a virus is like putting glitter on your hands. And even after you wash your hands and you go around for the next 24 hours, it doesn't matter where you've been. And sometimes even 5 days later, you're finding bits of glitter everywhere in your house.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that you sat there and washed your hands and washed your hands and washed your hands for, 2 happy birthdays or whatever it may be that's prescribed now, or the alphabet twice. But there's still glitter there, and you're going to find it everywhere. And a virus is like that. So I can imagine when you're talking about being on board a yacht, that one person touches this door to open something, and even after they wash their hands, there's remnants left. And then somebody touches that, and even if somebody is going around behind themselves disinfecting, you can't disinfect fast enough. So to have somebody that is trained to make sure that it is just straight across the board taken care of, I think is invaluable.
Yeah, it really is. And it's really funny that people are really just focusing on the virus at the moment, but there are so many illnesses and food poisoning, foodborne illnesses that have been around for millennia, which people think, And so that hand washing should always have been really good practice. The sanitation should have always been good practice. It's just really highlighted now because of COVID-19. The cruise liners have had outbreak control plans, which are integrated with their food safety management systems for 50 plus years. And the fact we've not done it in the cruise line industry is quite phenomenal. So, and I'm really looking forward to helping these young people, because I'm talking to a lot of crew, particularly young stewardesses, who feel the responsibility for all of this, and they have no critical friend to turn to. They don't know where to go to for practical advice. So when this is all over, what happens next? So let's get your outbreak management plans in place and how to do a response. Let's have the different levels in place. Let's do recording of what you've done to control any kind of outbreak, whether it's a virus as devastating as COVID-19 or somebody who's got gastroenteritis. They're all exactly the same, and they're all equally as contagious. So it's a very serious topic that these young people have to carry on their shoulders every day.
Yeah. Do you think that this will be something that eventually every single yacht, in order to operate, is going to need to have this training?
For me, I think everybody should. I am going to be representing yachts on the flag state with the flag states, and I'll be talking to the charter companies to explain the importance of this. If it becomes mandatory, then we're ahead of the game, and that's great. We're not going to play catch up. I would love it to become mandatory, and it's not for me about mandatory training. It's minimum standards. It's not about training for me. It's the protection and its well-being, and it's being prepared. So yeah, I would love it to be mandatory. It's going to be a long way to get anything mandatory. So it's, for me, I think yachts need to step back and take a look in the mirror and go, are we doing this right? If you're not, then, and you feel, actually, I don't know, if you've got that one bit of a question mark, come and find us. Just come and talk to us, and we can get your crew trained, and then you have that peace of mind that you know that you are doing absolutely everything you can to control food safety, sanitation, and that's the accountability, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think going forward, we're looking at a new normal. Yes, this current virus is going to, be taken care of one way or the other. But as you said, it's not just about this virus. There are so many other, foodborne, different viruses that you could catch. And I think realistically that everyone is going to be looking towards making sure that they have a sanitary environment straight across the board. And those that do have that certification and that training will definitely be out ahead of the game, even if it isn't mandatory.
Absolutely. This is something what yachts should be wanting to do. And if you look at the cruise liners, and now our yachts are getting bigger, what the cruise liners do, they actually train and do audits and do recording to come in line with the United States public health inspections, which are rigorous. And I used to do training for the cruise liners to prepare for public health inspections. Inspections don't happen on board yachts, they don't. But when you go over to the States, I was talking to one of the inspectors over in the States, he was training me, in fact, about 6 years ago. He said, yes, we do go on board super yachts, and no, they don't have the recording systems. No, they don't have, they're not saying they don't have good practice, don't get me wrong, but if something goes wrong and you've got a food poisoning outbreak or you're a virus outbreak, and you've got no recording and no backup and no proof that you are doing everything in due diligence, then you're at fault. They just assume that this is your fault. And you could be running the most wonderful galley, the most wonderful housekeeping, but unless you're recording it in the fashion that United States Public Health or any other investigating body, if anything goes wrong, you haven't got any backup. You haven't. So this is where the MFA is going to help people to know what you need to do for an inspection, for an audit, have the paperwork. In fact, it's not paperwork. We've created an easy to use application that it's on your telephone. It's all there. And the data is going to be there for 6 years going backwards. You just download it, it's there. And you've got the proof, and then you've got that critical friend who comes on once a year, or if you want to do more, we'll get them on more, to come and talk to you, walk around your galleys, walk around your housekeeping. And that's, for me, is offering that support, that shoulder to lean on and someone to talk to. Are we doing this well? Yeah.
Well, you know, I think it's an absolutely amazing new concept and long overdue. So congratulations on starting this up. And
thank you. I think I'm super excited. It's been a long time in coming, and what's really spurred me on is I've got the backing of the Highfield Qualifications, and there's a wonderful guy there called Richard Springer, who is the chairman of the board for Highfield Qualifications, and he's also Mr. Food Safety and Sanitation guru on the planet. He's amazing. He writes all the books, and he is so behind what we're doing in the superyacht industry. It's to have him as a mentor and a guide for me as well, and somebody to talk to, knows that I am doing the very best I can because I have him on my shoulder as well. So yeah, I'm very happy to have Highfield as a collaborator with us. So it's fantastic. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, how can people find the Maritime Food Authority?
So we've got our website, which is very long, maritimefoodauthority.com. And we've got Facebook page, and we're also on Twitter. So we're the MFA, and it's very exciting. We are doing our big launch. There'll be some more information on how to contact us, and how to contact the training centres, and I'll be there at the end of the phone to talk to anybody who wants more information. And we've got a great team behind us that's going to support us to get this absolutely right for the industry.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to provide all of that information just down below this interview when we air it. So if anybody is interested in, and as well, if a training center is interested in becoming involved, can they reach out to you as well?
Absolutely. And I've made a promise to myself, to the industry, and also to Highfield, that it's going to be a very rigorous application process to make sure that we are all training to the right standard. We can't have different standards. The training materials and how it's delivered is so important. So yeah, I'd love to hear from other training centres who would like to be involved, and it'd be great to get the word out to other valuable people in the industry.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for your time, and you know, I wish you the utmost success.
Thank you. It's been lovely talking to you this morning. Thank you.
You as well. Well, we're looking forward to it, and we'll have to have you back on in, you know, maybe 6 months or so, and we can see how things are going and progressing.
That would be fabulous. Yeah, it'd be really good to get some feedback from the yachts who are actually going through the manager in charge program and embracing the application, and actually having an audit on a daily basis. It's going to be great fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to the journey. So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again. This has been Georgie Mainey from Maritime Food Authority. Look for it coming soon to every corner of yacht near you. Very important. You have been watching another edition of Coffee and Conversation right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I have been your host. Stay tuned for another episode.